Welcome to the third episode of Let's Talk About It. This is Laura.
And I'm Nicole, and this is the podcast where we discuss queer posts on lesbian social media accounts. And our sponsor is Moonstone Reiki, Burlington, Ontario, moonstonereiki.ca. Reach out to Daniela Carnavali if you're interested in an alternative way to heal your physical and emotional well-being.
Yeah, maybe all those lesbians out there that are vegans might be into this.
Vegans, okay.
Yeah, you like energy, guys. You like energy. Anyway, on today's episode, we're going to talk about hypersexual posts that we see online, all right? I personally went and checked out 3 social medias. I checked Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter.
I don't use Twitter or Instagram, so I'm curious about that.
I follow you on Twitter.
I never post. I only post like professional things. Mm-hmm.
I do have only professional things too. Yeah, that's what I do. Sure. But anyway, I was doing a little bit of research for this episode, and I noticed that there were 3 kinds of posts. It was posts that were very graphic in the sense that it was a photo, and it was like maybe
naked.
Sort of naked, because you can get like banned on social media, but it was like very, very kind of like how to say, like the bum, the boobs.
Oh, wait a second. I think we need to explain something here. Okay, so Laura is responsible for this post this week, and I have a feeling it's going to be either really awkward or super unsuccessful, and here's why. Because Laura does not say bad words, and she does not say like slang words for body parts. So you heard her just say bum.
Bum, yeah.
And then boobs. What you didn't see, bum is actually butt and ass, but whatever. First language, not English, but
they also post photos for those.
But what you don't see is that she was saying bum, and then she had her hands like sort of an inverted jazz hand going across her breast, and it was even uncomfortable for me to look at.
Wow, so. Breast? That's a okay.
All right,
bum is a butt. Yeah, mm-hmm. they will show photos of their bum, butt, whatever.
Wait a second, before we get going, I want to ask you something, because Laura's Mexican, so I want to ask you.
Yeah.
Do you know what the Mexican word of the day is?
What is the Mexican word of the day?
Chicken finger.
Why?
My wife says she don't need me because chicken finger herself.
What's the matter with you? I think our friendship is finishing here. What is the matter with you? Okay, first of all, no. Anyway, going back to the topic, which I totally forgot about. No. So there were like 3 kinds of posts that I saw.
Yes.
First, photos with people where they will show the bum. Now I know that's
ass.
Yeah, that. And then it will be like maybe the boobs, like showing a little bit.
Snoods.
Okay. And they wwere like nothing. They were like maybe a word like, oh, I'm lonely and this. So what do you think about me? So for me, that's a little bit hypersexual, because you're getting attention through your body.
Oh.
Then you have another kind of posts that in Twitter actually are way more explicit. That there were people that they will actually be without their face, but they will show naked parts. Like Instagram is more strict. Like you can't show like explicit things of your body, right?
Like labia or something.
No, nobody will show that, Adi. Nobody.
I don't know what Instagram you're looking at. Like,
well, in Twitter, actually you can, unless you get reported, and if you don't, you might be able to pass those photos, and people will post things like that in order to get attention, I guess.
Obviously.
There were all other posts that I saw that they will show like, oh, I'm lonely and I need to meet somebody.
Here's my labia.
Yeah. Here's my address.
What do you think?
Well, first of all, why would you say that word? First of all, guys, I call it flower, okay?
Oh, for Christ's
It's
sake.
flower. It's flower. It's not L. It's not P. It's not whatever you call it. It's flower.
So basically, we're going to refer to pussy as a flower for the rest of this podcast. And it's supposed to be explicit.
I can call it flower. You can call it P. Don't look at me.
I don't even know. Anyway, okay.
Look at me
Keep
weird.
going.
Anyway, so I was wondering, we mentioned it before, why do people post these things? Like, why would they would just go online and post photos about themselves? So I was reading an article about how dangerous nowadays is on social media, not just for queer people, but for people overall, and teenagers.
You mean like hookups and stuff?
Yeah, but especially because you don't know who's looking at this post. But people are getting a lot of, are trying to get a lot of attention on themselves. We have become very addicted to the instant gratification of, the thumbs up. So I just find it very interesting that you will go online, post a photo of your body, half naked.
Your snoods.
You're killing me. Okay, I will say the slang words just for you, okay?
Okay. Ooh.
Yeah. So, nudes.
Snoods.
Snoods, oh.
Yeah.
Okay. What is the difference?
Nude?
Is naked, right?
Yes.
And snoods, what is it?
Boobs.
Oh, wow. Guys, we all learned something new right now. Because I didn't know that. Alright, so boobs. People will post photos of their boobs. They will post photos of them, like, half naked in the bathroom, or a lot of bathroom photos, by the way. That's really, really, really weird for me.
Likely all these people just have roommates that are hanging out in their living room.
I guess so. Maybe their parents, too. Maybe they live in their parents' house.
Likely in the basement.
Yeah. Well, do you think so? Like they
yes, I actually think so.
Oh, wow. Anyway, so what do you think about those posts? I think people get it from attention. Like they just want to get the attention of people, get those likes, maybe even get messages. By the way, guys, I was so shocked that there were groups on Facebook, like lesbian groups, that are supposed to be for only lesbians, and it's full of men.
Oh, yeah.
Full of men, especially those groups that don't have a lot of strict rules.
No.
So a lot of men will like instantly like message you, like you say hi, and you have like boom, 15 guys saying hello.
That's disgusting.
Yeah, that's super gross. And promoting a lot of private groups for sex. So I'm just very confused about all this whole hypersexual posts. I'm very confused.
You know, I don't pay attention to them a lot, but I think, in our last episode I had mentioned, the lack of queer representation in media. And I think that, it kind of does go along with this same topic. I mean, we could go even deeper than that. I mean, we're not really seeing healthy sex represented in queer media.
Yeah.
So, it's not like we have these movies where there's like, a woman or another woman, or a man and another man, and they just have a regular old day, and then they just, I'm going to have sex with my wife, and then they have sex, and then they go to bed. I mean, there's not, you know what I mean? But there's all kinds of that in straight media. I mean, there's all kinds of that representation in movies and in, soap operas and Grey's Anatomy and all those things. So I think that when you're looking for something, and you're not getting it, and you get more desperate, then you tend to reach for the extreme, which are those explicit posts, which are those things, right? I mean, that's really what it's about. Like the more that you're not getting either the attention or you're not getting the sort of feedback from the media, then you reach for more extremes to satisfy, that part. So, I mean, that's just my opinion about it. Yeah. But I mean, I could never, think about posting something like that, just because, I have another life. But I really could not imagine, what would be the need for that, unless that's kind of your job. Like, are you a stripper? Are you, you know what I mean? Like, are you promoting your brand as a stripper? Are you... As a escort? Obviously, of course you can. You can be an escort. I mean, it's legal in some states, and there are websites for it. And then you can also be a stripper and have a brand, I mean, and you're promoting that brand.
Strippers, if you need to promote something, you're more than welcome to be our sponsor.
Yes. Today's sponsor is Little Muffin.
Yeah, stripper flower of your day.
Yeah, she's at the Gentleman Club on 8 Mile in Detroit. She's at the Faro Gentleman Club on 8 Mile in Detroit. Check her out, and she only takes ones.
In the cash.
You can bring a credit card, but she only takes ones.
So, for me it's confusing because, first of all, if you are not, you need attention and you're not confident enough to go out and talk to people to the point that you need to post things like this, how is it that you are confident enough to post a photo of your body? Man, I struggle with that. Like, I struggle just looking at my photos. I think a lot of people struggles with that. Like, you take a selfie for work, or you take, for whatever reason, you take a photo just to post it out there. I'm pretty sure all of us just spend a few minutes looking at photos like, oh yes, this one, no, this one, I'll retake it. So how you decide to show your body that way and generally have a good explicit post about sex, or at least given the idea that you're looking for sex, and without being scared that you will be judged,
Was there one in particular that you...
Yes, so I saw 3 in particular. There was one on Twitter of a girl that was just, like, her boobs were just exposed. Her boobs were just exposed on Twitter, and she was like, oh, looking for girls. And there was another one that was on Instagram. Instagram is more strict, but it's like showing her bum, right? Like showing her ass. Sorry.
Oh my God! I hope your like soon-to-be wife is listening right now, because you're actually saying bad words. I don't even know who you are right now.
I know. But I'm anyway. So, and the other post was on Facebook, and on Facebook, they were not really photos, but they were more like written posts saying like, "Oh, I'm lonely and I'm looking to meet somebody who can private message me."
Yeah, but that's just like, lonely. No, they're like, I'm lonely and I'm looking to.
Yeah, and I'm like cyber sex, like now.
Oh.
So I was like, huh. So it was difficult for me, and it took some time to think about what was also maybe what nowadays is considered hypersexual, because I come from a time where social media was not around at all, right?
Right.
So for me, it was like no social media at all. So probably for me, a photo of you having a sexy pose is explicit or hypersexual, but for new generations, it's not. Right? So I think that for me, there was a little bit of difficult to categorize it as hypersexual, not hypersexual. Yeah. So I went to look for those that were very, very explicit, saying like, oh, who's available for a private hypersexual chat, or they will even promote private groups about this. Twitter, I find out, guys, people on Twitter, so they send a lot of like photos where they even might be having like sexual poses with other people. You don't see their faces, and then they sell subscriptions, so they send you the full like video of the. I was so shocked.
Oh, I think that's everywhere. I think that is a pretty common thing. I mean, Jesus, there's stuff on YouTube where you can just like watch people eat. That's a fetish, right? Like you watch like a Japanese girl eating a whole bunch of squid or something. It's a fetish, and that's out there. And it. I don't seek out sexually explicit posts, and I see them and I go, ew. Sometimes I'm like, no thanks. Why would you do this? There was one. I don't think you commented on it, but it was about scratched up back. Oh, did you see that one?
I did.
Did you see that one? It was about, and it was like, if your back doesn't look like this, then it wasn't worth it, or something. And I was like, somebody please explain this to me right now, because
I don't get it.
I don't want anybody to scratch me until I bleed. I don't care how good I am.
To my future wife out there, you can scratch me. It's okay. Just not too hard, please.
No, I mean like scratch my back like it itches, but please do not scratch me like I'm going to bleed.
Oh yeah, that photo. I remember
that was gross. And then I just asked. I was like, so can somebody please tell me like why? And some girl explained it. She was like, well, it's the pain and whatever. And then she felt like the need to explain to me to each his own. Okay, I get to each his own. That wasn't what I'm asking. I wasn't trying to be disrespectful.
Yeah.
I was clearly wanting to know, why would you let someone scar you?
Yeah.
Or tear up your back? Like, it's stupid. It's really mind-boggling to me. I just find it weird.
Well, the other thing is that everybody online seems to be an expert on sex would be so great in bed. Like everybody would you see
Christmas trees. I don't think so.
Yeah, I definitely don't think so. Like, but everybody seems to post these things and they're like, "Oh, I'm the best." It's like I don't know. Based on what you talk, I don't think so.
Yeah, or some other tenets of what it is on your Facebook,
In
right?
profile,
like in your profile. So we look back at your profile, and it's like,
yeah, like I was also not actively looking for this. Like overall, I was just doing that for the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
But the idea came because sometimes you join these groups of you try to get out there, right? And I mean, we live in Asia, so a lot of information that we also we get through different social media. We want to keep in contact, and I still find these things without me looking for it, which means that actually it's very popular, right? Like it's very active to the point that it's on my news feed, just by the fact that I'm gay, I'm classified as gay, and Facebook knows that I'm gay. They already show me these things on my news feed, right?
I've seen a couple of posts that were pretty artistic. There were like two women, naked or whatever, and they were like kind of intertwined or whatever. And I'd show my wife, and she was like, "Well, that's intense, but beautiful nonetheless." I mean, again, we don't see a lot of even art representations. And I'm sure they're out there, but there's a couple of times where I've seen some things where I'm like, okay, it's nice. Obviously it's a piece of art. I'm not going to display it in my house. I mean, we have a beautiful, I believe it's a watercolor in our bedroom of a woman that was done quite some time ago before the artist went colorblind, and it's very beautiful. And I don't mind having that type of representation, but it's the two women together. I'm not going to be hanging that in my house.
You should.
But that's not necessarily sexually explicit. I think, but it still kind of goes along the lines of, what representation are we seeing in any media, regardless of its, the television or art.
I think that's the key word of this. What is sexual but artistic in a good taste, in a good manner, that you can actually look at it and feel good about it. Well, I think another way you feel uncomfortable.
Yeah, well, I think most posts that I see are like, some sort of representation of a vagina, some type of empowerment or something. There was one was like beef tongue and it looks like a vagina or whatever. I don't know. I saw that and I was like...
I saw those?
I saw that and I was kind of like, well, I don't know. I don't think that I need to see like different representation of vagina everywhere, and I don't find them artistic, but
I don't see them
or empowering.
I saw them, but I'm like, I don't see a vagina there. I don't see a
vagina where. So we have about 2 minutes, and there was another post I came across that I wanted to share with you. So it's not very sexually explicit, but it's funny.
Okay.
So it's on the Pink Taco lesbian group. And
by the way, I've been trying to get there because they still don't accept my request.
I don't understand. Hey, Pink Taco, pay attention here. We're trying to talk about you in a good way.
Yeah.
So Pink Taco, funny post that came out it looks like 11 hours ago. So that would have been on Friday or something. Yeah. So it says, we finally have our answers, and it's two like crying emojis. Okay. And I just think it's funny. So it says, lesbian alternative phrases for cock block. So number 1 is vejected.
Vejected.
Oh. Number 2, twat swat.
What is a twat swat?
Yeah, sorry. To get swatted out of the way, maybe. Number 3 is a clam jam. Clam jam. Number 4 is clitorference.
That's a good one.
Number 5, beaver impeder.
Beaver impeder. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
To the Canadians.
Number 6 fits us quite well. It's taco blanco.
Taco blanco. Oh yeah.
Yes, taco blanco. And if you hadn't guessed it by now, there's a little bit of a pun in our name. Les talk about it. Laura's Mexican, obviously, and taco's representation of what Laura would say is a pea or a flower. And the last one, is Scissorception.
Scissorception.
Scissorception. So that is the number 7
That's good.
lesbian alternative phrases for cock blocking.
Like the woman that was flirting with my future wife last night.
Oh, you cock blocked her.
I totally cock blocked her.
Did you twat swat her?
I totally did. By showing my ring.
Well, I think we got to wrap it up now.
Yes, guys.
Thank you for opening our eyes to the troubling world of nakedness on Instagram and Twitter and Facebook. And remember, the Mexican word of the day is chicken finger.
Yeah, guys, just very quick. Yeah, just be careful out there, okay, on social media with what you post.
Please don't put your snoods out.
Yeah, don't put your snoods out, and you never know. You never know who's on the other side. And
could get catfished.
Yeah, absolutely. You
could get catfished. Could get molested or kidnapped.
It could be me, the one you're talking to, and I'm gonna exhibit in my podcast. Like, I don't know.
I think another aspect of it too is, and unless it's your job, you probably shouldn't do it because that kind of follows you wherever you go. So
yeah, people definitely find you now on Google.
Absolutely. So going back to our sponsor is Moonstone Reiki, Burlington, Ontario, moonstonereiki.ca, Daniela Carnavali, for alternative healing of your physical and emotional well-being.
Yeah, the big guys out there, you should be interested.
Yes. So this is the 3rd episode of Let's Talk About It.
See you next week, guys.
Bye-bye.